Good morning, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming along to this webinar today, focusing on the rise of digital health and safety within the construction industry. So we're really excited to speak to you guys today and maybe show you and be able to show you guys a few different ways of how you can utilize different tools to boost the way that you look after health and safety processes on your construction sites. So just to start off, I want to introduce myself. So my name is Jack Williams and I'm the Senior Account Manager here at 3D Repo. I'm also accompanied by Mia Deeb, who's our Product Implementation Specialist. So just a bit of housekeeping today, guys. We really want this to have some good questions at the end. So in the right-hand corner of your screen, you should see a questions tab. If you do have questions, please keep them firing through and we'll get through to them at the end of the webinar. And we've also provided you with some handouts as well. So these are to do with previous white papers that we've done with 3D Repo focusing around health and safety and 4D. But yeah, within saying that, I think it would be a great idea for us to start the webinar. So just in terms of the agenda, we're going to start off with a bit of an introduction to 3D Repo. So this is just going through the platform and giving you an understanding of the platform as a whole. Then we're going to be focusing on how you can manage risks using digital tools, how you can actually optimize 4D within health and safety as well. So breaking down those different barriers around 4D. And then last of all, communicate these risks into different risks beyond your own BIM platform. So pushing risks into other tools where they can be managed. And then to follow on from that, that's when we'll be going through the questions, we'll have the questions section. So yes, please get those questions coming through as we are going throughout the webinar. But yeah, so just to give you an introduction to 3D Repo. So we are a digital twin platform for BIM data. So when I say that, that gives you the ability to be able to view 2D, 3D, and 4D data all through your web browser. But it's really good to have an understanding of the founding principles of our platform. So the first one is that BIM software is too complex. We wanted to create a platform where, it wasn't a BIM manager or a digital engineer that are the only people that can use it. It should be every different stakeholder on the site be able to easily use these different tools. BIM creates knowledge silos. You have different teams working in different softwares. How can we make them all collaborate effectively with each other? Interoperability is hard, as we all know. There's so many different software vendors pushing out different data formats. How can we make everything work together? Your data needs to be accessible with no proprietary data lock-in. Every project is different with a different set of requirements. So can your platform mold to those requirements? And last of all, most digital twins are one-offs. So I'm saying that this is the overview of the platform. So what we do is that we take various file formats from different software vendors in the market, and we upload them into the 3D Repo cloud. So the really interesting thing about our platform is actually how we optimize your data. So what we do is it goes through this process where we store it in our own proprietary file type, which then allows you to start having different data formats working with each other. So you can be, federating DGN models with Revit models. But when you bring it into 3D Repo, that's when we start to break down those barriers of interoperability, the way that we optimize your data. But on top of that, so 3D Repo is used as a development platform as well. So we've developed a planning portal called Planbase in conjunction with the GLA. So it's all about being able to bring members of the public into a public forum, and they can look at 3D models and leave feedback and ask questions about upcoming developments in their communities. We also have the 3D Repo IO, which is what we're going to be focusing on today, which has the various different features built in it. We've also developed a tool called 3D Send as well. So this is all about sending 3D models to various people, all just to their email addresses. But the great thing about it is that it has a built-in embedded viewer. So you could send a model to maybe a contractor that doesn't have the right software to actually open the model, but you can send it through 3D Send. They can open it up through the viewer and actually interrogate the model, navigate the model as well, sorry. But another really interesting topic of conversation is around digital twins. So with 3D Repo, we have integrations with Unity and Unreal, so you can publish your BIM models into those gaming engines where you can develop your own digital twin applications on top of 3D Repo. But the really interesting thing about our platform is how we like to leverage our APIs. So everything we do is underpinned by the API. So We have various integrations with all these different applications in the market to streamline workflows for our customers. So, it's really about, for us, we want to understand what tools you're currently using so we can integrate with them to create a full circle streamlined workflow. So we're not trying to work outside of your current software stack. We're very much trying to integrate with it and make things easier for our customers. Now, in terms of data consumption, how do you actually get your data into 3D repos? So there's multiple ways you can do it. A really nice way is being able to publish directly from your authoring tools. So we've got plugins for Revit, Navisworks, and Civil 3D. Now, what that means you can do is that when you're working in these tools, you can publish them directly into 3D repo. So it's a really nice way of getting data into the platform. The other way you can do it is you can direct upload. So we take various file formats. But probably the most popular way, and this is, we've been doing a lot of work with integrating with different common data environments. If you have one of these applications, we can do an integration with them, and then this just fully automates the whole process. So models will automatically flow from those common data environments into 3D repos. So there's no manual uploading of yourself, or there's no double handling of data. It's just the easiest way to do it. So this is just this is the 3D Repo IO. This is just a quick glimpse for you guys to kind of see what the platform actually looks like. This is King's Cross Railway Station. We have some GIS data, but the key thing you need to realize here is that you're looking at this model, this quite highly detailed model, all through your web browser. So the way that we optimize these different types of data, we can handle large models within our platform. So we're going to have a bit of a focus on this today. So this is the 3D Repo IO. So this is the out-of-the-box solution that has the various tools built into it. So we do issue tracking that follows a BCF schema. We can do data analytics by pushing all your model data, issues and risks, smart groups into Power BI, which I know is really popular in the industry at the moment. Safety based. So we're going to have a really big focus on this today, and Mia's going to do a really good demonstration for you guys. But we also provide, coordination tools like instant clash and change management with using 3D Diff. And finally, we can also do data validation as well with smart groups. So we do offer a wide range of tools straight out of the box. Now, in terms of our security, so we're a G-Cloud approved supplier. We have the ISO 9001 and 27001 certifications. We also have our cyber essentials. And 3D Repo is developed here in the UK by our London software development team. And everything we do is encrypted and access protected by an API service wrapper. And we have the same encrypted transfer protocol as you would for online banking. So we're a really secure platform, and we have all the correct accreditation to show so as well. Now, I know this is a really important for a lot of people, so it's all around the hosting option. So where is your data actually hosted? So we host our multi-tenant server here in London, and that's through Amazon Web Services, but we also have a service spun up in Montreal for a project that we're doing up there. But if you do require private cloud deployment or on, we can also arrange that for you as well. This a lot of the time comes down to client requirements, and so we can meet those requirements by giving you the flexibility of being able to host your data in your own country as well. Now, in terms of our users, it's very much a mixed bag. We deal with tier 1 contractors, clients, multidisciplinary engineers, architects, and we really do get involved, in all 3 stages of a project, whether it's design, construction, or operational phases. But in saying that, that's just the introduction to 3D Repo. If you have any questions, keep those coming in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to Mia, and we're going to start focusing on on safety base for you guys.
Thanks, Jack. Hi, everyone. Mia, Product Implementation Specialist. I work with the Product and Customer Success team at 3D Repo. I'm going to show you today safety base and how you can capture risks and health and safety and mitigate those in your 3D environment within 3D Repo. So I'm going to share my screen here. If you can just let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, I can see that now, Mia.
Okay, great. So really, like, since 3D Repo sits in the cloud, this means that anyone with a web browser can access it with a good internet connection and start collaborating. So here I'm just going to log in with my credentials and go through the project. And the first thing that I'm going to demonstrate today would be our Kanban board. So this is basically a way for you to interact with safety-based risks for risk management. And we're trying to slowly move away from the traditional Excel spreadsheets and the long list of risks. So by creating an interactive environment for you to deal with your any issue that you mentioned that you raise with your team. So in here, I can even select a grouping, a different kind of grouping. So for instance, I'm just going to go through my different categories of lists of risks, and then the mitigation status. So for instance, here I can see that most of my risks are unmitigated. Some of them are proposed, and I can even look at the owner. So who is this risk assigned to? The main contractor, MEP engineer. And then even I can check who created it. So in this case, we created this here at 3D Repo. So if I go to the category, for instance, it's a very dynamic environment. So you can literally like drag and drop the cards and swipe them however you want. So if the risk here is undefined, actually, you know, I want to say that this edge protection required card is actually here, a fall from open edge. So really, it gives you the ability to articulate the information with someone who isn't familiar with the software. And you don't really need to be an expert in a software, and you can just like log into 3D Repo and access those risks. So you can literally click on any card and all the information related to that risk will pop, such as the risk likelihood, the risk consequence. And it's really easy to use for you to just basically reassign them and change them. I can even, you know, the same way WhatsApp messaging would work, I can even tag Doc, for example, and tell him, take a look at this. Oops. And instantly send it to the risk environment. So Jack will receive a notification and it will instantly let him know that you know, he needs to focus on that risk and try to address it. So really here, it's really interesting that I can basically open any risk. I can even you know, send a screenshot or attach even a, I don't know, an image that can act as a markup, and I can say, okay, take a look here, for example, and even send it to the chat and say what's going on here. But really, that's about it. What's really even more interesting is that I can push this further and actually start to look at all of this information within the 3D model environment. So if I click here, for instance, I'm going to get a new tab and I'm just waiting for the model to load, and I'm going to be able to see the entire risk register with all of this in the informations. I can have a full audit trail of the conversation. So if in the past I tagged someone, I can even decide to tag that person or reply or say, never mind, this is done. So really, for anyone, whether you're on site, at the office, or working from home, you're having access to that model in real time. So everything that you do is instantly updated and within the model. So I can see here that I'm opening that specific risk. The other thing is I can click on any of those icons here the safety-based icons, and it will directly take me to that specific risk. So I can see that this is, for example, below ground poor, and I can even access the conversation the same way I did in the Kanban board, and I can instantly update the camera position, and it will take me to that risk at the specific time and place. And I can even just go through the different list of risks and navigate through it. So when I opened the model, the safety guard, a safety-based guard was activated. And so you can see here my full list of risk registers. But now I'm going to show you how you can create risks and exactly how it works. So for instance, in this particular use case, let me say I am going to just raise a risk here, basically. And so I just click on my plus button and I say opening to be treated. I can add a pin in here, save the pin. I can even add an image and create a screenshot. So this is how I create a markup. You can create a revision cloud or anything really, and just save it. And then decide that, you know, this is a moderate risk and the consequence would be actually high if someone falls. I'm going to assign it to the main contractor, and I'm going to say that, well, this is a safety issue for falling. The associated activity, it's basically with the construction maybe. The element type would be slab. Risk factor would be physical opening, and it's related with to the groundworks. So I can even specify a specific location. So I'll say that this is near an opening and just click on save. And then instantly my risk is created. It will update the database and add it to the list. And I'm using the specific standards. So in here, without having to literally think about what I'm going to write or how am I going to mitigate this risk, I'm literally just creating a nice and clean risk register without having to just specify the risk location with the pin. I can even determine a specific area by creating a custom polygonal shape. So I'm literally, you know, defining that area, and I'm saying this is the area of concern. I can save it, and I instantly have, you know, that specific area related to the risk. So every time I go somewhere, I go back to that risk, I can instantly pick it up from here. And this actually allows me to communicate it better with my team. So anytime you log out and log into 3D Repo again, you know, you have a full risk register, and you know, you have your entire information that is audit trailed if you want. So nothing is lost in 3D Repo. You can always decide to mitigate the level of risk, decide on a specific treatment suggestion, but everything is in there. So you can always have access to that anytime. Now this is great. I just showed you how you can basically comment on risk, create some risks, and finding the best possible solution as a treatment suggestion, and this can be driven across your team or the project. And it's all really interesting, but then what would be even more interesting is the 4D aspect to it. So in here, I can see that this looks like a typical 3D model, but the difference is that I can actually activate my sequence. This is a SPM export from Synchro, so I can rename my sequence, and let's say in this case I'm going to rename it to 4D sequence. Oops, 4D sequence. and bring up even the list of activities. So in here, you can see the entire construction process. So anyone who has the right model permission can access it and immediately play back. So I'm even determining a specific step interval. So let's say I'm going to look at my sequence for every 5 days and look at the progress. So if I click on play, you can see that it's skipping every 5 days. It's showing me the construction process. And you notice that the safety base pins come and go. And so this indicates basically that those risks appear and disappear over time, because we found that the health and safety risk in general is actually time limited. So it gets highlighted, mitigated, then closed when you move on with your construction. It doesn't happen throughout the entire construction process, but really occurs at certain or multiple times and locations. So you can still access that risk anytime. I'm just going to go through the list of activities. So for example, depending on where you are in the sequence, so I'm just going to zip through random here moment in time. I can look at the specific list of activities for a particular moment that will appear as a list under the sequence playback controls. So I can review really the whole program and search through it. On the right, you can see that let's say I want to look at a specific activity or work package. So I'm just going to say I'm interested in looking at when the columns were erected. So great, instantly I'm filtering through the entire list of activities, and I can do it by zones. So if I click on erect column zone 1, and I can see here the information that is imported from Synchro, then if I click on that specific icon, it will take me directly to that specific moment in time when I created the risk, and will associate it to the specific activity. So I can see, I can visualize the erected columns in that specific zone in that time. So it's really useful when you want to search for a specific work package or an activity, and you can even like click on the planned start finish icon to update your model view. So what I mean by that is if I'm going back to my risks and I'm clicking on, let's say, this one, or I want to look at this large area of concrete that is poured. What I'll notice is that because this risk is appearing and disappearing in the sequence, this happens because I actually set a specific start time and end time. So what I'm really indicating in here is that I want this risk to appear on the 4th of November, and maybe it gets, till the 18th, because after that point, the concrete is no longer wet and, it's no longer an area of concern. So if I click on this button, it will really take me to that specific moment in time within the 4D sequence. Likewise, as I showed you by clicking in here, I can do the same in the actual 4D sequence and scroll through my calendar and really decide when I want to change that sequence. And let's say I'm going to set another time, hit OK, and it will instantly also update the risk for me. So not only the 3D model is updated, but also the sequence of when that risk is appearing within the entire construction process can be seen. There is another option for you to, if I go back to my sequence panel here, to show the legend. So that legend is, the list may be empty or pre-populated, so you can also move it around however you wish. You can drag and drop it. You can customize the legend to suit your needs by either adding or removing the content and changing individual titles. So for example, here I assigned it to a specific activity. I can even change the color and so on and so forth. I don't always have to display the full activity list, so I can just flick this toggle button in here. And really, this is how 3D Repo supports the 4D sequence playback. And it allows you to, add a time-sensitive issue and even risk to your project. So really the real benefit here is during the planning stage, you're not only looking at health and safety, but you're also looking at logistic management, constructability issues management, even rethinking the entire supply chain strategy, and rethinking the work package allocation. During the construction stage as well, I can look at site induction. So for instance, if I'm opening a risk, and I'm actually, I look at this column collapse risk and I realize that, you know what, I might need to attach a specific resource, and I want to tell whoever is on site to really take a look at this safety signage, or basically just raise awareness. So I can instantly update that and upload that resource. If I click on the image, it will open up in a new browser page. As you can see in here, I can always decide to delete the resource. I can even add another resource and add a link to any specific website. So for instance, if I'm looking at, I don't know, the board barriers, just Google that really quickly, edge protection, and just completely paste the entire URL and provide a link and then save it. And then here it is. I can always open it, I can remove it, and I can even quote it. I can even quote my colleague as well and saying, so really here I'm able to instantly and continuously add more context to my model, but also my risks. So I'm constantly creating that seamless experience in one single environment, and making use of my 3D and 4D model, and giving access to anyone within my team or any of the stakeholders engaged in that project to take a look at what's going on and really track the entire project completion and the construction progress, basically. Right, so now I just showed you like how you can create a risk, basically attach some resources to it, communicate it with your team, and as such, you're trying to anticipate the risks over time. You're reducing them and trying to improve the health and safety on site by avoiding near misses and improving social distancing, for example, as well in COVID times, or involving everyone to really uncover more risks. So you're really involving everyone, whether you're an architect or an MEP engineer, everyone can have access to that information and can understand what's going on site. But really, if I want to take this further, it doesn't stop here. I have all of my information in the 3D repo environment, but I can do so much more with this. So for instance, if I'm sending that list of risks only to the main contractor, I can just literally filter by main contractor and just saying that I want to look at the risk owner, who's the main contractor, and it will instantly filter that list of risks to only give me those that are assigned to that contractor. And from here, I want to share that as a report, as a PDF report with him. So I can just click on create report, just hiding the log, and instantly, without doing anything, I'm just generating a full PDF with an audit trail of all the risk register for those risks. I can then print it and save it as a PDF and just send it to the contractor. But it also doesn't stop here, because I can download it as a JSON. So that's a very popular file format, which contains all the risk data. You can open it in other applications such as Power BI, Tableau, or Excel, you name them. You basically start to make use of it to visualize your project risks with custom dashboards, for example, to track the project's overall progress. And this is what I'm going to show you in just a second. You can really connect 3D Repo to one of those platforms, such as Power BI, and track your project risks in real time. So I'm going to open up here just a sample risks template that we created. So by leveraging the 3D Repo APIs, you can really start to make an online query and establish a live connection between 3D Repo and Power BI. You can always close that file in the future, save it and open it up again, and really retrieve the latest data from 3D Repo. All you have to do is simply just apply the changes and click on refresh, and it will pull together the latest and retrieve the latest data on demand. So this is really good for comprehensive project progress tracking, or just in general articulating, the state of the project with your client or contractor. So when I click refresh, I can literally look and get a comprehensive view of what's going on in the project, taking it to another level to a dashboard. But even if I'm really interested in looking at a list of risks, I can also generate a table from here. So this is how you basically also leverage the APIs and make use of our backend. I will leave this here for now, perhaps, and just leave the floor open for discussion. And if you guys, if Jack, you want to add anything.
Yeah, well, no, I think the best thing to do is that we've had some really good questions come in, so it'd be quite good to answer those for everyone that's attended the webinar today. So in saying that, why don't we start going through them? So the first question I have here, are the risks classified as per PAS 1192 Part 6, 2018?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sorry. So are the risks classified as per PAS 1192 Part 6?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yeah,
Hello?
sorry. Yeah, I don't know what was going on. Yeah. View risk or create risk from within design authoring tools. Yes, for sure. So we have a set of Revit, Navisworks, and Civil 3D plugins. So if these are your preferred design authoring tools, you can just go to our downloads page and download those sets of plugins that will literally allow you to do the exact same thing that I just showed you in 3D Repo, but within those applications. So without having to leave those applications, you can literally mark up a risk, an issue, create a screenshot, and just send it to the team. And all of that information is instantly updated in 3D Repo as well. So when you go to 3D Repo, you'll get the latest results. And you're more than welcome to make use of those plugins as well. Like I said, we've got Revit, Navisworks, and Civil 3D.
Perfect, thanks, Mia. I think we did miss the top question though, so which was the are the risks classified as per PAS 1192 Part 6?
Sorry? Hello?
Yes, okay, I can cover that. But yes, 3D Repo is one of the only, Safety Base is one of the only tools on the market that's compliant with PAS 1192 Part 6. So yes, you are working within that forum. Can you hear me, Mia?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now. I don't know what was going on. So
of course, this happens on the live webinar. This is it's always the case,
exactly.
Right?
And during the live questions.
It's fine. That's fine. I answered the question anyway, so that's fine.
So yeah, it is ISO certified, and yes, you can. Yeah.
Perfect. So another question we have here, Mia, is it possible to import automatically a risk register developed with another software? So can they bring in risks from another tool?
For sure, as long as the list is contained in a file format that we support. So for example, if you have a list of risk as CSV, or you can always export it in different file formats. You can it back into 3D Repo. You can even use your risks from Excel and directly import them to 3D Repo. This is where you start to make use of really our live API for making web queries. You can import any set of treatment suggestion as well. You can download it as a CSV table and then bring it back to 3D Repo.
Thanks, Maya. I guess this actually brings me on to the next question, just discussing the API. So we have a question around here. So assuming, basically it's saying, will 3D Repo integrate with any common data environment that has an open API? I think the answer to that one is interesting. So in theory, yes, we always want to be able to integrate with different common data environments, but it also does come down to the other software vendor actually wanting to do the integration with us. So it's something that we're always willing to have a conversation about, but we're always keen to, but it just depends on the other vendor. Okay, another question. This is quite a good one there. So do we need to have Synchro for the 4D sequence to work?
So obviously we're not working with Bentley, but we're not a Bentley product. So if you have a Synchro license, you can then export whatever file you're working on as SPM. So this is a 3D format that contains the sequence, and then upload that directly to 3D Repo.
So yeah, so like the great thing about that is that all of a sudden you're making these 4D models available not just to people who actually use Synchro, but you can give it to clients where they can actually not just watch a video, but then they can start to navigate around a model as well. So you don't need to have a Synchro license. You just need to be able to have it. You just need a 3D Repo license. Another question: can you export Revit phasing to 3D Repo to support high-level 4D programs?
So at the moment, we haven't really looked at it, but you're more than welcome to send us an email and we can log it into as a feature request, and we can discuss it with our product team. We do support Revit data depending on, what kind of metadata you feed your model. So in 3D Repo, we've got the BIM card that contains all of the set of information from the model. So for instance, if you create a new parameter on Dynamo or even if you have a specific phase filter, let's say you've got a model that is in demolition and then you've got new construction, all of that will be visible in 3D Repo. But obviously Revit is not a 4D tool, so it will give you information that is contained in Revit. So you will be able to see and access all of that data, but you won't be able to construct your 4D sequence from a Revit file, if that's your question.
Perfect. And look, if we're not giving you the full answers that you guys are looking for as well, you can always you can email myself or Mia, and we can also come back to you on that, just to clarify anything. There's a question here from someone saying, I think ISO Part 6 is not even released. I think that was meant to be referring to PAS 1192 Part 6, but do email in if we need to clarify that for you. This is a good one. Okay, so has there been any research or data so those projects that have been using safety base have had better safety performance during this construction phase, i.e. hard evidence that better communication of the sites reduces injuries on site? Can you hear me, Mia?
Yeah, it's breaking again.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Okay.
Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, okay. So basically, has there been any research or data to show those projects that have used safety base have had better safety performance during the construction phase, i.e. hard evidence that better communication of the hazards has reduced injuries on site?
So we have a number of case studies. We have collaborated with a number of partners and even like big construction firms, and we've got some case studies that you can access online. In terms of the evidence that better communication of the hazard, we haven't really conducted that study, and we don't really we haven't really quantified that in terms of reducing the injuries on site. But we can share with you as well if you're interested to know more about those specific projects that have used safety base, such as Gammon Construction and Atkins and other big companies that are making use of our tool.
Yeah, and I think the key thing is as well is that, you know, the 4D capability from our side is quite fresh, right? It's new, so we are going to gather more data as the time goes on. It's very early stages still, but the feedback that we've had from our customers is that yes, it is helping improve the way that people can engage with the various hazards during the construction phases. So this is okay. I'm going to give you this question, but I'm not sure if we'll be able to answer it or not. But we'll test it anyway. So, how about provisions for quantitative assessment for risks? In addition to the qualitative ratings I observed, I believe for most construction projects, while doing comprehensive tracking, teams would like to know percentage likelihoods and/or cost impact / time delays. Is that a question we can answer now, or is that one we need to get back to?
Yeah. So actually, the short answer for that is basically this is where we start to make use of other tools such as and platforms such as Power BI, for example, because they can really literally give you the charts that quantify those likelihoods. So you can, just by having access to that data, you cannot do it instantly in the 3D Repo UI. I cannot really have a comprehensive overview of like those different percentages, likelihood, or the cost impacts and time delays. But I can take back that information into other platforms that actually have the proper infrastructure for it.
Perfect, thanks, Maya. I think this is our last question. So can we build 4D sequences in 3D Repo using Navisworks?
So we're looking at this in our roadmap. At the minute, you can only export an SPM from Synchro that will contain the entire sequence. We are testing the Navisworks route as well, but in terms of what is live currently, you cannot literally build a 4D sequence. You can do it manually by adding as many risks as you want, but it's not going to update the list of activities and the model for you. So whatever you have on Navisworks, right now at the minute using the plugin, you cannot directly export using a button that's going to input all of that 4D sequence for you into 3D Repo, but it's something we're looking at. And if it's something that you really want to see in the future, then again, you can just send us an email at support@3drepo.org, and I will make sure to communicate it with our product manager so we can reevaluate the need to implement that solution.
Yeah, and just to go on top of that as well, we are looking at other various 4D tools that we can use to optimize within 3D Repo. So, this is going to be something that's going to be continuously developed out. And so we'll make sure we'll keep everyone updated through our newsletter around that as well. But look, guys, I think that's all we have time for, and that's all the questions. So, look, just want to say thanks so much for everyone coming along today. We hope you guys enjoyed the session. And yeah, Maya, thanks for the great demonstration. And yeah, if you guys have questions, send them into myself. You can reach me at jack.williams@3drepo.org, or the same for Maya. And yeah, thanks so much. Have a great day, and hopefully we'll speak to you all again soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.